And I am actually in the World Storytelling Cafe itself in Marrakesh today. Fantastic. Hello, Louis. Hello, Marcus. Hello, we've got Waleed flying the magic carpet over there, drinking mint tea. I'm sorry, guys, did I say that? Was it a good mint tea, Waleed? Yeah. Does it taste good? Yes. I must recommend the drinks in here. The World Storytelling Cafe is our sponsor, so there's no reason why I shouldn't give up plug. But it's Friday night, so it's stories for children and those that refuse to be anything else but children. Oh, Baba C, hello, how are you?
I am magnificent, sir. How are you?
I'm feeling good. Feeling good. All right, Louis.
That's the best way to feel.
A story, I think I'll do a story. Actually, in my book, I say it's from Spain. I'm lying. It's from Italy. But as we know, stories are rarely from any particular country. There's variations in all of them. So I'm sure there's variations. This one's Spain anyway. It's The Nights of the Little Fish. And it's from way back in time when my hair was dark and my beard was ginger and all my teeth were yellow. And there was a poor man and a poor woman. Can I have an R from everyone? Can I have an R? But see, you didn't participate. I'm going to do that one more time. Can we have an R for everyone? And I had next to nothing to eat. All I had was half a loaf of bread, and that was dry and green and crumbly. And when that was gone, there'd be no food at all. But near there was a stream, and there'd be no fish in that stream for years. But I thought, well, it's worth a try. So he got his fishing rod, and he went down, he cast his line, and he pulled it back. And there on the end was a fish the colour of rainbows with golden eyes. And he thought, you're far too beautiful to eat. He's about to put it back in the water when the fish started talking to him. Very kindly, said the fish. But I know you're very hungry, so it's completely unnecessary to put me back. What you must do is this: take me home, cook me, cut me into 8 pieces, eat 2 pieces yourself, give 2 pieces to your wife to eat, bury 2 pieces in the ashes in the fireplace, and bury 1 piece one side of the house, and the other piece, the last piece, the other side of the house. Well, I don't know about you, but if a fish started talking to me, I would do exactly what it said. So he went home. He cooked the fish and he cut it into 8 pieces. And he ate 2 pieces himself. He gave 2 pieces to his wife to eat. He buried 2 pieces in the ashes in the fireplace and buried 1 piece one side of the house and the last piece the other side of the house. Now, you know, and look, you know this. You know, sometimes you can have a big meal and you're still hungry. You know, you've had a huge amount to eat, but you still want ice cream. Or sometimes your parents put something in front of you and you have one mouthful and you go, I'm full. We didn't spend all day cooking for you to leave it. What do you do? Push it around the plate, leave a big hole in the middle, so that's well, it was a bit like that. They only had those 2 small pieces of fish to eat each, but they were full. He said, indeed, this is a magic fish. And their luck didn't stop there. But the next day they were cleaning out the ashes in the fireplace, and there, instead of 2 pieces of fish, were 2 bags of gold. And their luck didn't stop there. For soon his wife had 2 fine sons. And the very morning they were born, one tree started growing one side of the house, and the other tree started growing the other side of the house. Nobody could name those trees. And as the boys grew, so the trees grew. And their luck didn't stop there. For one morning, they looked out on the trees, and there hanging on the trees were suits of armor, swords, shields, helmets. They fitted the boys exactly. And on the shields were pictures of little fish. And everybody called the boys the knights little fish. And as the boys grew, so the trees grew, so the suit's mama grew. And they liked it. Stopped there for one morning. I looked out, and there in the paddock were two fine ponies, exactly the right size to boys. And as the boys grew, so the trees grew, so the suit's mama grew, so the ponies grew. And they grew, and they grew, and they grew. And they're a bit taller than Louis, and a bit shorter than Babasy. And I know I told you off. You've walked next to me through the suitcase. And so they looked at each other and they thought, we were obviously given these things for a reason. We were obviously supposed to have great adventures. And they went to Mum and Dad and said, Mum, Dad, obviously given these things for a reason, obviously supposed to have great adventures. But if you've got to go, you've got to go. May the luck be with you, said Mum and Dad. And they packed them up some sandwiches and they sent them off down the road because it's actually compulsory. If your children are going off, you have to give them a pack lunch to go travel. Well, the two boys travelled together for a year. But as you know and I know, Willie has probably forgotten. If you're going to have an adventure, it's best to go by yourself. So one of the boys went to the east and the other went to the west. We'll follow the one who went to the west. And he travelled for a long way and further still till he came to a great city. He rode into the city. Everyone was crying and tearing at their clothes. He grabbed the nearest man. He said, what's wrong? So well, every year we have to sacrifice a maiden to the dragon, who is the son of the witch Albatross herself. And if we don't, we'll all be turned to stone. And this year, it's the turn of our princess. We like our princess. We don't want her to be eaten by the dragon. Where is she, said the nightfall fish. Over there by the tree of ill omen. When he rode out, there was a tree of ill omen, all scorched and scarred by the dragon's breath. And there was the princess. Ride away, she said, for there is not much time. He turned his pony and he rode off. She thought, oh no, I said it. But before she could blink, he's riding back again. This time he's got a big mirror under his arm. And he puts it up against the tree. And he took a veil from the princess's head and put it over the mirror. So what you must do is this. Wait until you can feel the dragon's breath upon your face and smell the ends of your hair burning. And only then step smartly behind the tree, taking the veil off of the mirror. She go, now I've met a lot of brave people in stories, but none braver than this princess. If there was a dragon in the field with me, I would run. I was no good running at school, but if there was a dragon in the field with me, I could win the Olympics. But she waited, and she waited, and she waited. And she felt the dragon's breath upon her face, and she smelled the ends of her hair burning. And only then did she step smartly behind the tree, taking the veil off of the mirror. She went, the dragon was looking straight into the mirror. The dragon had never seen the mirror before. It thought it was looking at an enemy. It breathed fire at the enemy. The enemy breathed fire back. It stomped its foot. The enemy stomped his foot back. The dragon got angrier and angrier and angrier. It broke the mirror into 1,000 pieces. It was looking at 1,000 enemies. It got even angrier. It started eating them. Well, obviously you're tough. Louis tougher. I'm not sure about Willie. No, Willie's tough. Okay. And but even the toughest dragon, dragons are even tougher. But even the toughest dragons can't eat 1,000 pieces of glass. And he's rolling around holding his tongue. When the knight stepped out behind the tree, whacked off Willie's head. Or the princess got the back of the pony and they rode off back to the city. The dragon's head on a piece of rope behind, bedoing, bit of green stuff falling out. They got to the city. Everyone was clapping and cheering. Can I have some clapping and cheering? Can I have clapping and cheering? Hey, bit of clapping and cheering. And everyone agreed that the princess should marry Nightmare Fish. And the princess agreed she should marry Nightmare Fish. And to be sure, Nightmare Fish agreed she should marry Nightmare Fish. And that night, they were looking out of the princess's window. And there opposite was a great castle, an honourable castle. It had cobwebs that went from the top of the tallest tower to the bottom of the deepest cellar, and spiders as serpents running up and down, and bats with wings this size flying round the town, long teeth, blood dripping from their teeth. Whose castle is that? Said the Fish. That is the castle of the witch Albatross herself. Many have gone, but no one has ever come back. Oh, he said nothing. The next day he got on his pony and he rode off and he tied it up and his pony up in the orchard at the bottom of the hill that the castle stood on top of. And he started walking up the hill and he shouted, "Is no one inside alive? No one inside alive, can you? Is there no hospitality for a stranger?" Which means can I have a cup of tea? No hospitality for a stranger, can you? And just said, the most horrible, the most revolting, the most disgusting face you've ever seen in all of your life appeared at the window. It had a long hook nose, big wart on the end, long hick chin, 3 hairs sticking out, long fingers, long fingernails, things crawling around underneath the fingernails. "My your handsome, do come in," she said. We went inside. She said, "You're really handsome, young man. Will you marry me?" He said, "If it's okay with you, I'll just have a cup of tea and be on my way." He said, "First of all, you must see the treasures in my castle." And they walked around, there were stone statues. As they walked past, the statues reached out and touched them. And there was cloth pictures, tapestries, and the figures on them were moving. When he thought he'd seen everything, he said, "Forget the tea. I think I'm going to be on my way now." He said, "First of all, you must see the one last treasure in my cellar. Now, you know, sometimes you've been about to do something. And come on, you will know this. You know, if you do it, you're going to get in loads and loads of trouble. But you do it anyway." And he's following witch down a spiral staircase. He thinks, "I've done some stupid things in my time, but nothing as stupid as following a witch down a spiral staircase with green slime falling off the walls." And he's about to tap her on the shoulder and so be on his way when she stepped sideways and he fell head first down to the cellar. "That'll teach you not to marry me, O slayer of my son, the dragon," shouted the witch. "Well, we'll leave him there and see how his brother comes." His brother had many adventures, but he met no dragon. When he came to the city, he rode inside and everyone was clapping and cheering. Let's have some clapping and cheering. And he thought, they must think I'm my brother. If I keep quiet, I'll find out what's going on. They said, "How did you escape from the witch Albatross?" "I can't tell you till I've been back again," he said. And he turned his pony and he rode off. And the princess thought, that's strange, didn't even stop to say hello. But he came to the orchard. And he saw his brother's pony and tied his pony up next to it. And he walked up to the big front door. And he banged on the door. Bang, bang, bang. And it opened with a creak and a squeak. And there stood the witch. She thought she was looking at the ghost of his brother. She screamed, "Let's have a scream." Ah! No, louder than that. I mean, a serious scream. I want a frightening scream. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Louis, I want to scream from you. Can you scream? 1, 2, 3. Ah! He took his sword. He put it through her middle. "Now tell me where my brother is," he said. "I shan't tell you unless you mend me." "How can I mend you? I'm not a doctor." "Easy. Go to the back of the castle, get some leaves of dragon's blood, some everlasting leaves, mix them up in a tub and dip me in it. I'll be as good as new. Well, he did what, and I'll show you where your brother is. As good as his word, he went to got some leaves of drag spunk, some everlasting leaves, mixed them up in a tub, which in it she was as good as new. They went back down the cellar, got the body of his brother, dipped him in the heating tub. He was as good as new. They went down the cellar again, got the bodies of all knights that ever visited the castle, dipped them in the heating tub. They were as good as new. They went down the cellar again, got the bones of all the maidens that ever been eaten by the dragon, dipped them in the heating tub. The maidens were as good as new. And a great procession made its way back to the city, and the witch was so angry she screamed, ran inside, slammed the door behind her, and Castle and Witch dropped inside the hillside closed, and none were ever seen again. But back at the city, there was a great celebration, massive for eating even more to drink. And of course, had you been there, you would have been invited. And that went on for 7 whole days. At the end of 7 days, there was just one maiden left, and she married the second little fish. And the maiden, the princess, and the 2 knights little fish lived happily in that city for the rest of their lives. Oh. That's my non-stimulating cocktail. It's got lemon, mint, orange blossom, and sparkling water. Okay, what should we do now? I think as the World Cup is, I'm going to do a poem for all those people that aren't good at football. All those people that aren't good at sport, or for Babasi's benefit, those people who aren't good at soccer, right? So, yeah, well, you know, we like to be we like to, you know, allow that our American cousins are watching. Anyway, you know, if you're not good at football and you're the last person to be picked, you're standing there, the line gets shorter and shorter. The line gets shorter and shorter and shorter, and there's only 2 of you left, and they pick the other one. You know you're the last person in the world anyone wants on their side. Now, do they put you somewhere harmless on the wing? No, support. Back. No, they put you in goal. Right, so in goal, nothing, you know, for most of the game, nothing happens. You sit there freezing. You know, I mean, it got so bad in the Morocco versus Canada game the other day that the goalie came out right down the end of the field, the Canadian goalie, and he said, I'll try and score a goal myself. Well, but most of the time, you just sit there freezing to death. And you watch everyone having fun at the other end of the pitch. But then it's your turn. They're so bad at football. That shows a piece of equipment I'd be thinking about. So that's but there's that moment, there's 20 people running down the pitch towards you. It's your moment of glory. They're nearly there. Whoa! And they shoot. You shoot. You dive. Your fingers get to the ball, but it just bends back. And you know, I tell you what. When the others miss a goal, when they shoot, they go hard luck, nice try, better like next time. If you're the goalie and they do that one, and they go, idiot, what you let that one in for? Well, this is the point. I love a game of football, but what does make me sick is when the sides are chosen, I'm the last one that they pick. They never do give me a chance to demonstrate my skill, because when everybody's running around, they give me a goal. And that's not my position. I should be on the wing, so I know it won't do any good if I say anything. So I think about the tackles and the goals I could have scored as I watch the others miss them, as I get cold and bored, but I'm not allowed mistakes. There's never any doubt. It doesn't matter what I say. It's what I miss. They talk about it. So I'll have a slide. And that's for anyone out there who's not good at sport. So I'm a good spectator. I'm really good. I'm good at spectating. Right. You should have been in the cafe here yesterday when Morocco won. We were packed out. We were packed out, and I was dressed as Papa Noel and waving my little Moroccan flag. And the policeman was next to us. The local neighbourhood policeman came up here. It was fantastic, brilliant. Right, so we need a story. Now, I've done this story a lot at the cafe, but I did promise Sue how I would do it. And it's a river maid, mainly because he likes the bit where the head is rolling across the floor. Well, it doesn't really roll across the floor, but she thinks about it. And it's from way back in time, beyond the 7 hills and the 7 rivers. And there was a girl, and she made the most beautiful ribbons you've ever seen in all your life. And she lived in a village, in the middle of a forest, in the middle of China. And everyone from the village sewed those ribbons onto their clothes. You know, it's like when you've got your clothes. Well, but everyone in the village had the same clothes. There was no one to show them off to. So they walked through the forest till they came to the city. Everyone admired them. But in the middle of the city was the palace. In the middle of the palace was an emperor. And he looked out of his window. How come those people down there have got better clothes than me? Servants, go and find out where they got them from. And the servants went out and found out all about the ribbon maid. Well, don't just sit there. Go and fetch her. Well, off went the servants, through the palace, through the city, through the forest, till they came to the village. And there was a ribbon maid, made you the most beautiful ribbons you've ever seen in all of your life. You go. The emperor wants to see you. Well, I don't particularly want to see the emperor's roof. It's just carry on studying. You can't turn down invitations for the emperor. But they took her. They put her in a cart. They dragged her to the forest. They dragged her to the city. They dragged her to the palace. They threw her down the emperor's feet. You go. You'll make me the finest ribbons you've ever made. You know, if you like. And she said, you think you can send your servants to my village? Insist I come and see you. And when I refuse, have me put in a cart, dragged to the forest, dragged to the city, dragged to the palace, thrown down feet. You go. You will make me the finest ribbons you've ever made all your life. You must be joking. You can't talk to emperors like that. Well, he took her and he locked her in a room. You go. You got 7 days to sew me a live chicken. And if you can't sew me a live chicken in 7 days, it's off and with your head. Which is a bit worrying, but you can understand it. But she tried. So she sewed, she sewed, she sewed. So after 7 days, there was the most beautiful embroidered chicken. Still an embroidered chicken, wasn't a lie. And she thought how lonely her body would be without her head on top of it. She cried, and a tear dropped on the chicken. She bit her thumb. Drop of blood dropped on the chicken. Suddenly, there's a live chicken. In walked the emperor. There you go, said the girl. Live chicken. You didn't sew that, said the emperor. Someone brought that in for you. That the chicken jumped up, pecked him in the face, and jumped out the window. Right. 7 days. So something more complicated. Seven, yeah. But thank you, Babsi. We're numerate. So yeah, 5 and 2. Yeah, no. Yeah. Okay, 4 and 3. Let's try 4 and 3. Yeah, 4 and 3. Okay, 7 days to sew me a live peacock. No skipping. I want the big fantail. I want an eye on end of every feather. If not, you know exactly what happens. Off with your head. Well, she was ignoring, but she sewed, and she sewed, and she sewed, and she sewed. And after 7 days, there was a live peacock. No, there was a beautiful peacock, but it wasn't alive. And she thought how difficult it would be to hold up her head without a body underneath it. And she cried, and tear dropped on the peacock. And she put her thumb and a drop of blood dropped on the peacock. Suddenly, there was a live peacock strutting around the room. In walked the emperor. There you go, said live peacock. You didn't sew that, said the emperor. Someone brought that in for you. With that, the peacock jumped up, pecked him in the face, and flopped out the window. Have you ever seen a peacock trying to fly? They flop. Right. Don't they have peacocks flying around Washington, D.C.?
We call them politicians.
I would call them so, right, 7 days to sew me. Let's get into a bit of mythology here. A live dragon. Yeah, I want a little pointed tail, little wings, all those little scales. I want no detail missed. She was even more worried, but she sewed, and she sewed, and she sewed, and she sewed. And after 7 days, there was the most beautiful embroidered dragon. Now, like the ones you get from the back of Chinese dressing gowns. Only even better. But it's still an embroidered dragon. It wasn't alive. And she thought about her head rolling across. This is Suhai's favorite bit. She thought about her head rolling across the floor, padoing, 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 padoing. She cried. She dropped on the peacock. She bit her thumb, and a drop of blood dropped on the peacock. Suddenly, there was a live peacock dragon. Suddenly, there was a live dragon in walked the emperor. And before he had a chance to speak, the dragon breathed in, and the dragon breathed out. And we all know what happens when dragons breathe out. Fire. And there was just a little pile of ashes where the palace used to, where the emperor used to be. Right, where do you want to go, said the dragon to go? Obviously, back home to my village. Well, we could say Barbados or somewhere. Well, where would you like to go on? Well, Indonesia, said the girl. And on my back, said the dragon. They flew out through the window, once around the palace, twice around the palace. The dragon breathed in and the dragon breathed out. And there was just a little pile of ashes where the palace used to be. But they flew across the sky. The ribbon maiden was so happy. She was making the most beautiful ribbons of all different colours and throwing them into the air. And if you look up to the sky this very day, if you're very lucky, you'll see a rainbow. And you'll know that's where the ribbon maiden was making her way home, on the back of the dragon. That's kind of got a step off. Yeah, Bluey, are you off swimming?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
So we'll see you in the car.
Yeah.
So I've just got to check the time. Oh, well, I think I'll do another couple. I think right. I haven't done it. Oh, this is one I've done for a long, long time. It's not a story, and it's not the one with a witch. I do have one with wise women that aren't horrible, you know. You gotta. Actually, yeah, that's what I mean. Witches are sometimes wise women, but there's but not this one. Oh no, I think I'll do. I would change my mind. That's the great thing about live, is that you can change your mind about what story you're going to tell. So I think I'm going to do one with a wise There was a king, inevitably, and inevitably he had a daughter, beautiful princess, but he had no queen. And in those days, when king wanted a new queen, he just popped out and he got one. He popped out and he got himself a new queen. And that queen had a daughter the same age as the princess. And her name was Kate. The princess and Kate became great friends, but the queen was one of those people that wanted her daughter to be better than everybody else. Anyone out there who's ever been a teacher will have seen this. You know, people come to my child should be in this class, she should be in that class, she shouldn't be sitting there next to them, she should be, because no, she's better than all these people. Well, the queen was a bit like that. And she was worried because she thought everyone in the city thought the princess was more beautiful than her daughter Kate. So up she went to the hill, the top of the hill, and there lived the hen wife, the wife woman. And she knocked on the door. Yes, Queen, what do you want? She was a bit of a Republican, not Republican as it means in your part of the world, purposely, but as it might be in your part of the state. She's a bit of a Republican, and so she didn't care much for the Queen, but she said, Queen said, I'm very worried. Everyone in the city thinks the princess is more beautiful than my daughter Kate. What can you do about it? Well, she said, send her all right. I've got to do something. Tomorrow morning, send her up for 6 eggs for the king's breakfast. Well, the next day, the princess got up. And she was walking through, she liked to walk before breakfast. And she was walking through the kitchen, and the maid was spreading jam on fresh toast. And that smell of fresh toast and butter and jam, just, you know, she wasn't hungry when she started, but her mouth started watering. She said to the maid, that's right, come in. We stop, do have a seat. We've only just started the story, so come in, there you go, have a seat. You'll have to excuse my background, I think, but we're broadcasting out at the same time. But actually, it's great having you behind us. We look busy. All you need to know for this story is that there's a princess and her best friend, Kate, and Kate is the sort of stepsister, and the Queen, who's stepmother, is kind of annoying that the princess, people think the princess is more beautiful than her daughter. So she's gone to see the hen wife, and the hen wife said, send her up for 6 eggs for the king's breakfast tomorrow morning. I think you're up to speed now, and it will make sense as the story progresses. So, send her up for 6 eggs for breakfast next morning, and the princess gets up and she's walked through the kitchen. She asked for a little slice of toast from the maid who's eating bread and jam, toast and jam, and she walks through the kitchen and out into the rose garden, through the vegetable garden where the gardener's boy is collecting peas. Of course, being a princess, she just takes that little bit of jam to the corner of her mouth. And yeah, I know you're smiling, Babasi, but it's the sort of thing us gentlemen forget to do. And a certain person that I can see on the screen up there always pulls me up on that sort of thing. Yeah, I know, Babasi. But anyway, she walks up the hill, knock on their wife's door. Yes, girl, what do you want? 6 eggs for the king's breakfast. Very well, go to the jar and table, unscrew the jar, lift the lid and take out the eggs. She goes to the jar and table, unscrew the lid, lifts the lid, takes out the egg. Nothing happened. The hen wife knew she'd had something to eat before she'd come. Tell the Queen to make sure the pantry door is locked. Well, the princess went down and gave the Queen the message. And the Queen knew she'd had something to eat, but the next day she sent her out through the kitchen, and she walked into the rose garden with her to make sure she had had nothing to eat. And the princess went into the garden where the gardener's boy was collecting peas. Well, when I was a very small boy, and I was a very small boy once, and I did have dark hair and no beard. And my mum used to give me a big bag of peas in pods, and you'd have to break open the pit pods, and you put the peas in the saucepan, and you put the pods ready for the compost. And what would you do? And I know you did it. You broke up the pods, you went 4 in your mouth, 1 in the saucepan, 4 in your mouth, 1 in the saucepan. So when it's time to cook peas, there was about 5 peas and you had stomach. Well, it wasn't any different with the princess. She's walking up the hill, breaking over the pods, putting the peas in her mouth, throwing the pods over her shoulder. It's okay in the fire. And gets to the top of the hill and knock on their wife's door. Yes, girl, what do you want? 6 eggs for the king's breakfast. Well, go to the John table, unscrew, take out the eggs. She went to John table, unscrewed the lid, lifted the lid, took out the eggs. Nothing happened. Tell the Queen to make sure the pantry door is locked. Well, when the Queen got the message, she knew she'd had something to eat. So the next day, she took her through the kitchen, through the rose garden, through the vegetable garden, halfway up the hill. So by the time she got to the henwife's door, knock, 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 she had nothing to eat at all. Yes, girl, what do you want? 6 eggs for the king's breakfast. Very well, go to John's table, unscrew the lid, lift the lid, take out the eggs. She went to John's table, unscrewed the lid, and as she lifted the lid, her head jumped off of her shoulders and into the jar. A sheep's head jumped out of the jar and onto her shoulders. You get embarrassed if you're a sheep's head on your shoulders. So here, she put a shawl around her head and went and hid behind the hedge. Meanwhile, Kate is wondering where her best friend is. She looked behind that hedge. She wasn't there. She looked behind that hedge. And she wasn't there. She looked behind that hedge. There was the princess. Kate, I got a sheep's head on my shoulders. Now, Kate was the kind of friend you want in the process. Nothing worried. Well, if you've got a sheep's head on your shoulders, we'll go on a journey and find a way to break the storm. Well, they walked for a long way and further still till they came to a great castle. They knocked on the door of the castle. It's opened by a servant. Yes, girl, can we do something for you? Well, my sister is very ill, said Captain. Got somewhere else to stay. Well, upstairs there's the little prince. If you look after him for the night, you can stay. Well, off they went. Kate thanked the servant very much. There was the princess asleep on one side, she sat on her shoulder. There was the princess asleep on the other. There was Kate in the middle, mate. At midnight, the prince got up and he walked round the room. Kate followed down the stairs. Kate followed into the stable. Kate followed. The prince got on a horse. Kate got on behind him. They rode through the forest. Kate is taking hazelnuts from this tree and a hazelnut from that tree and putting it in her apron. She rides and she rides till they come to a green hill. Open up, for it is a prince and his horse, shouted. And the green hill opened up and they rode inside. And Kate realized that she's in the land of the fairies, hides in the shadows. And 2 dancers come. If only Kate knew. If she could get the stick of the baby in the corner is playing, and touch her sister on the head 2 times with it, her sister would have her own head back. Now, you know what happens if you get to make a baby? Crying. So she put her hand in her apron, she got out a handful of hazelnuts and she rolled them across the floor. The baby dropped the stick, crawled out after the stick, after the hazelnuts. Kate ran across, got the sticks, put them in her apron. When it was time to go, they rode back through the forest. Horses put back in the stable. They go back up the stairs, walk round the room. The prince gets back into bed. Kate gets the sticks, touches her sister on the head 2 times with it. And would you believe it? Her sister had her own head back. Well, the next day, the king of that castle came up. He had the court doctor with him. And that doctor was so miserable. He shouldn't have been allowed to treat children. So, well, how's my boy today? Said the king. Well, at least when he's no better, said the doctor. Well, at least he's not any worse. Thank you very much for looking after him. What's your name? Well, at that moment, Kate happened to have a whole mouthful of hazelnuts. Kate, Your Majesty, she said, spraying nuts across the whole room. Kate Cracker nuts, more like it, said the doctor. That's as maybe, said the king, but would you look after your boy one more night? And of course, Kate and her sister said they would. Well, there's the prince one side, there's the prince one side, there's the princess the other, this time with her own hair. There's Kate in the middle making up the pie. Midnight, the prince gets up, walks around the room. Kate follows down the stairs. Kate follows into the stable. Kate follows. They get on a horse. Kate gets on behind him. They ride through the forest. Kate's taking hazelnuts from this tree, hazelnuts from that tree, and putting a rake for them. They ride and they ride till they come to a green hill. Open up, Prince, the prince and his horse. And the green hill opens up. They ride inside. And Kate once more realizing she was a land of fairies, hides in the shadows, and two dancers come by. She hears them talking. This is a terrible night to say at the Vega Cafe. If only Kate could get the dead bird that the baby in the corner is playing with and get the prince to have 3 mouthfuls of it, the prince will be totally cured. It's all right, it's justified. But as long as the dead bird doesn't come in through the door, we can remain people.
As long as it's dead already.
It's dead already. It's fine. I don't think we've got any. I don't think we've got any ideological problem whatsoever. So there's well, get the prince to have 3 mouthfuls, the prince will be cured. Well, it's one thing getting the stick off a baby but took 3 mouthfuls, but 3 handfuls of hazelnuts rolled across the floor. Eventually, the baby let go. She got the bird put in her apron. When it's time to go, they rode back through the forest. And horses put back in the stable. They went back up the stairs. The prince got into bed. Kate got a stick, and put the bird on the end and started cooking it on fire. It's okay. They took the well, the prince was one of those boys that didn't have to be awake to be hungry. No comments from you, calm, relaxed, and confident. And the smell of cooking went under the prince's nose. And he just put a hand out. And she broke off 1 piece of bird in his mouth. Went out again for a second time. Went out for a third time. Sort of forget this. She put the whole bird in his hand. He put the whole bird in his mouth. He spat the bones out of the floor. But then this time he'd had his 3 mouthfuls. And he was totally cured. And he was bouncing off the bed. And he was bouncing off the ceiling. And he was bouncing off the floor walls. And the old king came running up to see what all the noise was about. And he was so pleased to see his son was cured. Couldn't hold on for one more line before you call the team. It's going on that porch, not so the old king came running up the stairs to see what all the noise was about. And he was so pleased to see his son was cured. He offered Kate his son's hand in marriage. He offered the princess his son's younger sister hand in marriage. And it was a great wedding and a great celebration. It was massive to eat, even more to drink, even more than in the story before. And of course, had you been there, except those of you that are trying not to eat at the moment, you would have all been invited. Right, I'm going to finish on one more story. You can pause. You can pause. Come on. This is a good moment. Do you want to make unfortunate noises behind me? No, you're right. You do that. So, I'm going to finish on a Moroccan story as I'm in Morocco. It's I'll tell you the story behind the story. I love saying this. In February, we had a storytelling festival here, and it was 5 days after the borders opened. So we were the first thing that happened in Morocco. So we got all the newspapers, and Ishmael was sitting on a bus station in Israel, reading his newspaper, and he was about to go to a village on the edge of the Sahara, gateway to the Sahara. And he read about the festival. He came to Marrakesh instead, and he told me the story. And it's about Marcouche. All you need to know, because for those who don't know what Marcouche is, I was educated last February by this. It is a mythical bird that exists only in Morocco as well. It's quite large, and so the story is from way back in time when all the animals could talk to each other and chickens still had teeth. And so there was a chicken, and it made a little nest, and it laid some eggs. And it was waiting for them to hatch. And they were nearly, you could almost hear them cracking when the chicken remembered something she hadn't done. Now, you've been there, haven't you? You think, I've forgotten something. I'll pop out and do it. It will only take a minute. Nothing can happen. Well, so the chicken comes back, and her eggs have hatched, but there sitting on her nest is an enormous Marcouche. And she's very polite. She said, "Excuse me, Marcouche. Do you mind moving aside so I can look after my chicks?" And Marcouche said, "Not at all. If you go to the cow, get me some butter." So she went to the cow and said, "Excuse me, cow. Do you mind giving me some butter? I'll give it to Marcouche. Marcouche will move aside and I can look after my
Chicks.
They're very good. They don't need training. Usually it takes 2 or 3 times to get. They're probably the best audience I've had all night. So they are. Anyway, the cow said, "Yeah, fine. Providing you go to the alfalfa field and get me some alfalfa." So she went to the alfalfa field and said, "Excuse me, could I have some alfalfa?" To give to the cow give me some butter, I get the butter to Marcouche will inside, and I can look after my
Chicks.
And the alfalfa field said, "Yeah, but no problem, as long as you get the canal to water us." So she went to the canal and said, canal, can you water the alfalfa? And give the alfalfa to the cow give me some butter. I give the butter to Marcouche move aside, and I can look after my
Chicks.
And the canal said, "Yeah, but we're really dirty here. Could you get the workers to clean us?" So she went to the workers, said, workers, can you clean the canal? The canal walked the alfalfa, give the alfalfa to the cow give me some butter, give the butter to Marcouche moved aside, and I can look after my
Chicks.
And the worker said, "Yeah, but it's so boring." Yeah. And I love this. Is my favourite demand for workers' rights. Can you get the dancers to dance for us? So it goes to dancers, said, dancers, can you dance for the workers? The workers clean the canal, give the canal, the canal will water the alfalfa, give the alfalfa to the cow give me some butter, give the butter to Marcouche move aside, and I can look after my
Chicks.
And the dancer said, "Yeah, it's really stony down by the canal. Could you get the shoemaker to make us some shoes?" So she went to the shoemaker, said, Shoemaker, can you make some shoes for the dancers? The dancers will clean the dancers will dance for the workers will clean the canal water the alfalfa, give the alfalfa to the cow give me some butter, give the butter to Marcouche will move aside, and I can look after my
Chicks.
And so the shoemaker said, "Yeah, but I'm really hungry. Can you go down? There's a party going on down the road. And could you get some chili couscous? Now, Ishmael, when he told the story, he was very particular. It should be chili couscous, not any old couscous, but chili couscous. So went to the party, said, "Excuse me, could I have some chili couscous and give the shoemaker? The shoemaker will give you some shoe, make some shoes. The dancers, workers will clean the canal. Or was it alfalfa? I'll give the alfalfa to the cow give me some butter, I'll give the butter to Marcus from overside, and I can look after my
chicks.
Well, the party said, yeah, but there's a bit of a problem. We need some wood for the fire, we can't eat the chili couscous. So it's all right, the story is not lasting long, Mother C. You know, there's
Enjoy the story.
Yeah, yawning in public, yawning for the world. In fact, your yawn was being seen across the globe,
And you're being experienced across the globe. And I love your global approach.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the story.
Yeah. And now we've got the echo. And we're nearly at the end. We're nearly there, I think. Anyway, this is the wisdom of cooperation. So she went to all her chicken friends and said, "Excuse me, could you each get a piece of wood in your beak and take it to the party? They'll heat the chili couscous, get chili couscous to the shoemaker makes some shoes for the dancers will dance to the workers will clean the canal will give the alfalfa to the cow will give me some butter, I'll give the butter to Marcus from overside, and I can look after my
chicks.
And every little chicken, and you've got to have friends. This is, it's great if you can have friends. Each one took one piece of wood and took it to the party. And they cooked the
chili
couscous. They gave the chili couscous to the
dance.
Shoemaker, yeah. Who made the shoes for who go and dance for the workers who clean the canal. She gave the alfalfa to the cow gave some. She gave the butter to the Marcouche, who said, "You took your time." The Marcouche moved aside, and at last she could look after her
chicks.
I see you're looking after Cherry, that calm, relaxed and confident.com. So, Cherry. Thank you for listening. That's the end of the session. Let me say what's coming up. This Sunday is Worldwide Story Round. Well, leaves my brain in the corner there. Then Tuesday, and that's 7 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Moroccan time. Is that right? Perfect. And then Tuesday is our Young International Tellers. Hopefully, it depends on the football. Hopefully, we'll have this cafe full of young tellers, and there'll be other young tellers around the globe on the screen. That's at 5 o'clock UK time, 6 o'clock Moroccan time. Then on Friday, we've got Bob and Liz together from New Mexico. And that's a very fine hack word. And so it goes on. I shall be flying home tomorrow, so I shall be announcing the next program from Swindon, I should think. No, I won't. I'll probably be announcing the next program if it's Sunday night from a picturesque village in the Cotswolds. But wherever you are, whatever time of day it is, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Have a great night and see you. Bye. Thank you, Waleed, for flying the magic carpet once more. I told Waleed just now, before he turns it on, that on Christmas Eve, we're doing a Christmas Eve special, Stories for Peace. And we're going to have storytellers from all around the world. And it's going on. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. So, Stories for Peace. Yeah, but feel sorry for Waleed because it's going to start at 10 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock. That's not too bad. 11 o'clock Moroccan time. But it doesn't finish till 10 o'clock at night. 11 o'clock Moroccan time. So, I think we need another round of applause for Waleed. Thank you all. Good night. Or good afternoon in Babasou's case. Bye. Okay, you can kill it. Yeah, I can stop being pleasant.
John, I think you better look in the chat.
I can't see the chat.
You're in a bit of
You're
trouble.
probably fortunate.
You're in a bit of trouble.
I think you might have forgotten date night.
And yeah, it's okay. I can just announce it all. But that's it. Well, I got Babasir before we kill this. Babasir.
Yes, sir.
Next Tuesday, can you host Young Tellers?
What's the date of next Tuesday? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah. And I might ask you to get me out of trouble to sort of take
I should
over
be able to do
on
it.
Sunday.
I should be able to do
I
it.
can
Yes.
leave it to Mike.
If you
Okay.
your hat
Thank you all.
inspired this
Bye-bye.
hat.
Tuesday the 6th it is.
Yeah, I can do it.
Great.
Because of your hat, I might have to bring
Yeah,
a character
it's-
of mine out of
it's the
retirement,
6th,
John
because
Rowe.
we've got a little press conference in London.
We do.
We do for the big festival. The festival here, it's going to be an amazing festival. 40 tellers coming from all over the world and 20 from Morocco. And that runs from the 12th to 19th of February in this very place and several other places around Marrakesh. See you. Bye.
Bye. Very much.
You can kill it now.
Don't tell me he's waiting for me to